podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.
Now entering the PNRNetworks arena, coming down the aisle from Revere, Massachusetts, weighing in at absolutely none of your business. It's the Mistress of Mayhem, the Queen of Quips. It's time for Ring Around the Rosie with your hostess, Kim Brown.
Hey everybody, welcome to another week here on Ring Around the Rosie. I'm your host, Kim Brown, aka Platinum Rose Lady, aka the person in front of the microphone that's hosting this little show of mine. I hope you are having a terrific week so far. It is Wednesday, the 10th of April, 2019, and I gotta be honest with you, holy crap, it's freezing! It is wicked freaking cold. This is ridiculous. I'm sorry. I don't know who to write to complain about this, but it's absurd. It's almost the middle of April, and it's 40 degrees outside, and it's cloudy, and it's miserable, and I am sick of it. Sick of it. Sick to death. Sick. I just can't take it anymore. And the weird thing is, I'm not like a warm weather person by any stretch of the imagination, and I'm certainly not a person that likes to go out in the sun very often. You can tell because my skin has that lovely pallor of someone that's just been freshly pulled out of a freshly dug grave. But I'm sorry. This weather is completely unacceptable. I mean, it's New England, so we have a saying up here, if you don't like the weather, wait 2 minutes, it'll change. And that, my friends, is not crap. That is not bull, I'm telling you. But seriously, it's like crazy cold for this time of year. I still can't feel my fingers, so I hope your week's going well. Obviously, this past weekend was the big show, the biggest show of the year for the WWE, the granddaddy of them all, so on, etc., and so forth. Wrestlemania 35 in the shadow of New York City, which is what they said all night long, even though it's coming from another state. WrestleMania 35 was at the MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, which is not in the shadow of New York City because it's in another state. I mean, that just aggravated me all night long. I realize that's a little kind of nitpicky thing to get aggravated about, although I had a lot of things. I have to be honest, there were a lot of things about WrestleMania I really enjoyed, and there were quite a few things that really irritated me. That was the thing that irritated me the most all night long, was all this talk about, we're in the shadow of New York City. You're in freaking New Jersey. I'm sorry, there's a lot of really good things that came out of New Jersey. They should be proud of that. Well, like, Bruce Springsteen's from New Jersey. There we go. Yeah, okay, that's awesome. That's a good thing. I'm sure it's a very nice place. I mean, I've driven through it a few times, but still. You know, it's like, I'm sorry, if I was from New Jersey, I would have been pretty ticked. But, whatever. It is what it is. Obviously, we cannot not talk about the 800-pound gorilla in the middle of the room. The evening before the WrestleMania show itself was the WWE Hall of Fame event, which inducted, a new class of wrestlers and legacy people, which is, for people that aren't with us any longer. And that's a, thing they do every year, and it's really awesome. And I'm going to run down the list of people that were inducted this year, and then we'll get to the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Just sit over there a little longer, gorilla. Take your time. The people inducted this year include the Honky Tonk Man, one of the longest running Intercontinental champions. He was Intercontinental champion for 454 days. Also a tag team partner of Greg Valentine when they were known as Rhythm and Blues. He was inducted by Jimmy Hart. WWE female superstar, I don't think they'd called them divas at that point, Tori Wilson, who was inducted by Stacy Keibler. Tori was graced the cover of Playboy twice while she was working for the WWE, and was involved with a storyline between Dawn Marie and her father, Al Wilson, who unfortunately passed away also over the weekend, so condolences to Tori and her family. And also Brutus the Barber Beefcake, who was inducted into the Hall of Fame by Hulk Hogan. Beefcake, a former WWF Tag Team Champion, also with Greg the Hammer Valentine. That's weird. Back when they were both managed by the late Johnny Valiant. And also in a group induction, we had Degeneration X, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Billy Gunn, the Road Dogg, X-Pac, and Chyna. Obviously posthumous for Chyna because she's no longer with us. I gotta be honest, I kind of flipped a little bit when we saw everybody and everybody came out and some of them, and everybody looked terrific. X-Pac, dude, what happened with your hair, man? I mean, it's not that it looked bad. I mean, I was like, wow, that's a really sleek look on him. I was like, wait, what? You know, I'm used to his hair being kind of like all over the place, and I was like, okay, that's different. Not bad, just different. Good on him. Harlem Heat were also inducted, Booker T and Stevie Ray, and the Hart Foundation, who were inducted by Natalia. The Warrior Award was given to Sue Atchison, who is a WWE executive and works with a lot of the charity programs, including having dealing with the partnership with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. She was inducted and presented her award from Dana Warrior and John Cena, who has granted 600 Make-A-Wish wishes for people that are, in a stage in their life when they could use a little pick-me-up and a little help and a good thing in their life. And John Cena is definitely proof that you don't need to wear a cape or say Shazam or anything like that to be a superhero. Good on you, John. Although I do have a bone to pick with you, John. We'll get to that later. The legacy, the people that were given a legacy accolades in the WWE Hall of Fame for this year included the late Bruiser Brody, the late Wahoo McDaniel, the late Luna Vachon, the late S.D. Jones, the late Professor Toru Tanaka, Primo Carnera. I shouldn't have to say late for everybody. You know that these are people that have all passed on. Joseph Cohen, who was a media executive. Hisashi Shinma, who was a Japanese promoter, Buddy Rose, also known as Playboy Buddy Rose, and Jim Barnett. So, to the families of those people, I hope that's something that they can treasure. They don't have the family member in their life on this plane of existence anymore. But it's a small token of esteem and appreciation. Now, we need to talk about the 800-pound gorilla in the room. While Bret Hart and Natalia were inducting the Hart Foundation into the Hall of Fame, obviously, Natalia up there because she was speaking on behalf of her family and, for her father, the late Jim Neidhart. A fan, quote, quote, somehow made it past security and tackled Bret Hart. He was immediately jumped upon by a ton of people, including Davey Boy Smith Jr., who happens to be Bret's nephew, Dash Wilder, Heath Slater, Drew McIntyre, Shane McMahon, Big E Langston, Drake Maverick, Braun Strowman, The Big Show, and also Travis Brown, who is an MMA fighter, and also happens to be as I mentioned, being an MMA fighter is someone that you don't want to, screw around with, and is also the husband of Ronda Rousey. So you can be pretty dang sure that he keeps his, anniversary date circled in red on the calendar. But anyway, so they all managed to subdue this nutcase, and how they managed to not just tear this. Have I mentioned I gave up cursing for Lent? Right now it's really difficult. This individual, how they managed to not tear this individual limb from limb, I don't know. They have a lot more reserve than I do. Of course, your average table lamp has a lot more reserve than I do. So there's that. This person was arrested and carted off by the police. As people are wont to do when something like this happens, everyone has tried to find out who this person is and what the frickin' fork their deal was. I am not going to say this person's name. I'm going to refer to them as that individual because I don't want to say their name, because that is giving them more fame than they deserve. So that individual tweeted a whole bunch of things to Vince McMahon, Triple H, about their criticism of the fact that the women were main eventing WrestleMania. A lot of their tweets, which I happened to read and somehow managed to not throw my phone across the room. So apparently I do have some self-control. Yay, maturity. A lot of their tweets are very sexist and basically say that women belong in the back when it comes to wrestling, and they shouldn't be in the main event and blah, blah, blah. This person has also, in the past, they've been convicted of stalking. There was an incident where a person that worked out at the same gym they worked at, took out an order of protection against them. And to this individual who attacked a legend, a cancer survivor, and a stroke survivor, there are not enough words in any language, never mind English, I mean every language on this planet and all the ones off it. There aren't enough words in Klingon, Elvish, or any other language you can think of to say what a low, contemptuous son of an unnamed goat you are. I hope they not only throw the book at you, I hope they throw the whole library at you. And to cap it off, just my own opinion, and it's my opinion for what it's worth, and everybody else is entitled to theirs, to this individual for doing what you did, for almost injuring a legend like Bret Hart and ruining a beautiful moment. I had a real hard time with trying to find the perfect phrase to use for you that didn't involve cursing, because I was like, I'm not going to break my Lent promise because I'm angry at you. So I did what everybody does lately, and I went to the internet and I Googled a bunch of stuff trying to find the best thing I could say about you that didn't involve cursing. So to the individual that attacked Bret Hart, I found a phrase that I think fits you just perfectly, sir. I don't know who said it first, so props to whoever came up with it first, but the best way to describe you, mister, is the best part of you ran down your mother's leg. And that's the bottom line, because I said so. And granted, I realize that is way less intimidating than Steve Austin sounds, but I can't help it, estrogen can't help it. It's, I'm just a dainty female as it goes. Stop laughing. So, now let's get to the actual nitty-gritty, as they say. Do they still say that? I don't even know if they still say that anymore. Of WrestleMania, and we will get to the show thusly. We begin with the pre-show, which had a whole bunch of stuff on it. You think a pre-show is just going to be some little, one match or two matches maybe, and that's it. Oh, no. Before we get there, though, I want to bring up something that I was like, okay. I don't quite get it, but whatever. There were two theme songs that they were using for WrestleMania. One of them is a song called Work by Chris Classic. But the main song that they were using was Love Runs Out by One Republic. Now, I have no problem with that. I love that song. That's a great song. It's also from 2013's Native. I'm like, what? You're gonna use a song from 6 years ago? Okay. I'm just like, alrighty, I didn't set this up. I'm like, alright, whatevs, But anyway, so beginning with the pre-show, we had a match for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship with the champion Buddy Murphy going against Tony Nese. And that ended in a change of belts because Tony Nese wound up winning after performing a running knee on Buddy Murphy and won the title. So congratulations to Tony Nese, the new WWE Cruiserweight Champion. I would also like to say Tony Nese made a gesture on his way down to the ring. One of those things that people like, you make a little gesture to somebody that is watching just to, send a shout out without actually sending a shout out. And the gesture was to Amazing Red, who has announced over the weekend that he is retiring from wrestling. And that makes me wicked sad. Simply because I think that Amazing Red is one of the greatest high flyers I've ever had the pleasure to see on TV. Unfortunately, I never got to see him perform live. I got to see him a lot in TNA back when it was still called TNA, because I don't know what it's called anymore because they've changed their name 7 billion times. Red was an amazing performer to watch. Absolutely fantastic and super cute. Oh gosh, please don't be mad at me, sir. But he was just incredible, and I wish him nothing but luck and love in the future. I know he still has a wrestling school that I'm assuming he's still, he's going to be a part of and stuff, but he has retired from in-ring competition, and to him, Ring Around the Rosie sends their blessings and love, considering that Ring Around the Rosie is just me. Next up was the Women's Battle Royal, which we're just going to call the Women's Battle Royal, the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal now. We're just going to call it that because we had the whole thing last with the other thing, and we're going to leave that alone. I still think they should call it like the Sherry Martel Memorial Battle Royal or the Miss Elizabeth Battle Royal Memorial Battle Royal or the China Battle Royal or whatever. It's just, the name is just blah right now. The winner of the Battle Royal looked like originally it was going to be Sarah Logan. As it turned out, she eliminated what looked like the only other person in the ring, which was Asuka. But as it turned out, Carmella, who had hid under the ring, eliminated Sarah. So the winner of the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal was Carmella. Yay. I guess we'll go with that. Okay. The next match was for the Raw Tag Team Championships with the Revival, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder, going against Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. And this was a really good match. I mean, I shouldn't sound so surprised because the Revival is really great. I know that they're like, the whole thing is that they don't fly. They just punch people and beat them up and stuff, and fine. It was won by Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder, with Kurt Hawkins getting the pin on Scott Dawson, and that brought to an end Kurt Hawkins' losing streak of 269 losses in a row. So now congratulations to Kurt and Zack for being the WWE Raw Tag Team Champions, which I was like, okay. They kept bringing up the whole Edgehead thing from, years and years. I gotta be perfectly honest, I completely forgot that they were Edge's, no, I can't use that word right now. Entourage? We'll go with that. back when they both had they had long blonde hair. They looked so different. I went and looked at some pictures before I recorded this, and I was like, wow, I almost didn't recognize them. I was like, that's just nuts. The next match was the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I've had a long day and I'm trying to talk. I'm so sorry. So there were, a ton of people in this, including the Hardy Boys and Braun Strowman and, the Ascension and all kinds of other people. And also, the two gentlemen from Saturday Night Live, Colin Jost and Michael Che, who decided to do what Carmella did and hide under the ring for the majority of the match. So I'm calling that deja screw. It's that moment when you think you've seen something before and you didn't like it the first time and you like it even less the second time. So from now on, that's going to be known as deja screw because it still stinks. The end of the Battle Royal saw the Hardy Boys facing off against Braun Strowman, and then Che and Joss get back in the ring to try and help them get Braun out of the ring, and that didn't work. And Strowman wound up making sure the Hardys got eliminated. So it wound up down to Colin and Michael and Braun Strowman. If anybody actually thought that Braun Strowman wasn't going to win this, seek help. That's all I have to say. So Strowman wound up winning because he's Braun Strowman and he's in there with two dudes from Saturday Night Live. Come on, seriously. One thing I want to say about this match, and I know I've probably said it before, Matt Hardy, my gosh, and now that Jeff doesn't look great, but Matt Hardy, dude, you look amazing. You look absolutely freaking fantastic. I gotta give you some serious props. So, that is the pre-show, and we get the kickoff for WrestleMania 35, which was, kicked off by, Yolanda Adams performing America the Beautiful, and it was very beautifully done. It was very nice, lovely version of the song. She had backup singers, and it was very cool. It wasn't the entire song. I mean, there are other verses after the one that everybody knows. I learned them at church, but they do exist. But you never hear them, which is strange. I don't get the helicopters. I mean, I was like, okay, the Blue Angels are gonna fly over now, right? No, not the Blue Angels. We're gonna get a helicopter show kind of thing. Okay. I mean, it was still neat. I mean, I'm not, it was still pretty cool. I was just kind of like, all right, weird. So the host of WrestleMania comes out, which is Alexa Bliss. Oh, my night's starting off well. Actually, before that, I gotta say something before that. They did this whole segment before the actual start of the show with the video segment and all that, hyping it up even more. I gotta say, here, I'm sorry. This sounds really nasty, and I don't mean it to sound as nasty as it's going to, because I don't intend it as an insult or a critique or anything like that. I, honest to blog, don't. But hearing Seth Rollins recite Shakespeare is just weird. I mean, that was just weird. It was nice. I mean, and I'm like, that's okay. Maybe if Baz Luhrmann does another movie like he did with, Romeo and Juliet, maybe he can get, Seth Rollins to do a part in some, updated Shakespeare thing. Or not. Sorry. It was good. I'm not saying it wasn't good, but it just, I don't know why that cracked me up. And nothing else about it really cracked me up. Just picturing Seth having to learn Shakespeare, for some reason, that just freaking killed me. So, now we get the actual start of the show. And, it's, the host is Alexa Bliss. Yay. And she says that, she has WrestleMania and all of the fans in the palm of her hand, and she can make a WrestleMania moment happen with a snap of her fingers. Now, the second, of course, somebody brings up snapping their fingers, my heart just did this incredibly painful lurch. I'm sorry, I started having Avengers flashbacks and I started freaking out. Comic nerd, I know. So she snaps her fingers and out comes Hulk Hogan. And after the snap, I was like, well, she's prettier than Thanos, so there's that. We'll go with that. And Hogan comes out and does a little shtick talking about the Silver Dome, which was just kind of funny. I was like, we're never going to apparently let this go. I got to be honest, I'm glad it was an open air stadium because the roof would have flown the frog off that building if it had a roof on it when Hogan came out. I mean, people went crazy. I gotta say, Hogan still got it when it comes to the mic. You know, you put him in front of a mic and just watch him go, you know. It's crazy. The thing is, as he's talking, when he's just about finished and he does this little pose down thing with Alexa, out comes Paul Heyman and he is one ticked off advocate. And he heads down to the ring and starts kvetching that if Brock isn't in the main event, he was going, you know, he wasn't going to wait, you know, for the whole show, and he wanted him to have the match now between him and Seth Rollins. Okie dokie. So Seth comes down to the ring and is immediately jumped by Brock before the bell even rings. And so basically, in my opinion, that just means that Brock Lesnar is a bully and a coward. Yeah, I said it. So what? I loved the one line that one of the commentators brought up about something being stuck in Lesnar's brain. Boy, that must be a lonely idea. That'll be the first idea in history to ever die of loneliness and starvation. I thought we actually had the first ref bump of the night, but it actually turned out the referee just ducked. I was like, oh my gosh, we have a referee that actually thinks on his feet. My heart. Oh my gosh. Absolutely beautiful curb stomps from Lesnar. Absolutely fantastic. And we wound up having a new champion. We have a winner and new Raw heavyweight champion in Seth Rollins. And I was like, what the frog just happened? Actually, who cares? I was so happy. I was beyond thrilled. I loved at the end of it when Seth walked up to walks up to the ramp and he's holding the belt and he does the whole spinning the belt over his head. Seriously, that takes some serious dexterity because I know if I tried to do that, I would either lose the belt and have it go sailing into the crowd and hit somebody, or I'd somehow manage to hit myself in the head. So, major kudos to Seth. Awesome. Now we actually have a champion that's actually going to be, around. So that's nice. The commentating team got a little more royal when Jerry the King Lawler joined the commentating desk, and we had the next match was AJ Styles going against Randy Orton. There's no belts or anything on the line, obviously, here. This is just a question of pride. I did hear a lot of people complain that they couldn't see the match, and that's people that were there couldn't see the match because the lights were too bright. And I've seen pictures of the show, and seriously, lighting people, what the heck? I felt so bad for people who were there and were having that problem. That just completely stunk. AJ Styles winds up winning the match after hitting Orton with the phenomenal forearm. He hit him with one outside of the ring and also in the ring and pinned him. So your winner, AJ Styles. We then had Lacey Evans come out to ringside come out to the stage and walk around and leave because reasons. I don't know. I'm flashing back to that Animaniacs routine between Dot and Yakko. Are we being punished? Yes. The next match was for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship with the Usos, the Tag Team Champions, going against The Bar, Cesaro and Sheamus, Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura, who still don't have a name, and Aleister Black and Ricochet in a Fatal 4-Way match. I gotta ask a question. Lana's outfit apparently, a lot of people noticed, that the whole Wonder Woman thing. Why? That doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. I realize that, again, this is what happens when you poke the comic nerds. Lana's whole thing is that she's the ravishing Russian, blah, 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 so you couldn't have her dressed like Black Widow? Oh, I'm sorry. That's an actual ravishing Russian. I'm sorry. But she came out in a dress and all that to be in Rusev's, corner, blah, blah. The match wound up being won by the Usos, who pinned Sheamus to remain the tag team champions. Following that, we had the introduction to the crowd of the 2019 Hall of Fame, WWE Hall of Fame class, and that was really cool. The next match was the Falls Count Anywhere match between Shane McMahon and The Miz. Okay. I gotta be honest, this was one of the best matches on the show simply because it held my attention. Simply because I enjoyed watching Shane McMahon get beat up. A lot. I mean, he got beat up a lot and I enjoyed it a lot. I wouldn't say it was to the point of quoting a line from Deadpool, and you might know which one I mean, but I'm not going to say it right now. I do have to say something else. My gosh, I hate Corey Graves. Every time Corey Graves talked in this match, I was like, could you attach yourself any firmer to Shane McMahon's genitalia? I mean, crying out loud, the way you were sucking up, however you want to word it, crying out loud. There's being a heel commentator, and then there's, being a you make me want to turn off my TV heel commentator. The match was, it was a mess. It was everywhere. They wanted Falls Count Anywhere, and that's what happened. At one point, Miz's father got involved, which I was like, this is not going to end well, and spoiler alert, it didn't. The end of the match, I was completely like, what? And I was like, this is either going to be awesome or it's going to suck. And it was actually a combination of both, because reasons. Miz superplexed Shane off of a camera stage 15 feet in the air to another platform. They both fell off. It was magnificent, and it was, I enjoyed it a lot. I might have enjoyed it in a sexual way. I will neither confirm or deny that. The problem is when they hit the ground, Shane's arm was on top of Miz, so the referee counted that, which means Shane won, and I was like, F this noise. And I actually managed to say F and not actually use the word, considering how aggravated I was. Because I had forgotten how much I hated Shane McMahon as a heel, because I remember the first time way back in the day when Shane was a heel, and he was just the epitome of the word annoying. And apparently that hasn't changed with age. Paige was at the announcer's table for the next match, which was the WWE Raw Women's Tag Team Championship, with the champions, the Boss and Hug Connection, Bayley and Sasha Banks, going against Nia Jackson, Tamina, who I still don't have a name for that isn't, really terrible. The Iconics, Billy Kay and Peyton Royce, who apparently shopped at Hot Topic, I guess, before the show. Because you had one of them that had the whole Maleficent hair, kind of horn thing. And the other one with the wings on that I was like, are we trying out for Supernatural for next season or not? Not really sure. And the Divas of Doom, Beth Phoenix and Natalya, I gotta say that name kicks butt. I love that name. Before I go any further, I do want to bring up something. We talked about the Battle Royal thing earlier, and I wrote it down in my notes here because we were talking about it during this match and all that. My husband, TC, who is a really great person and super smart and puts this show together, he actually brought up a really cool name. For the women's battle royal at the pre-show, that they should call it the Cyndi Lauper All-Star Women's Battle Royal. And I was like, I like that. That's cool. I like it. I dig it. I really do. I was like, that'd be great because, I mean, I know Wendy Richter was the wrestler involved with the Rock and Wrestling Connection back in the day, but Cyndi Lauper was the reason people were tuning in to women's wrestling back then. And I think including her would be nice. I think, and I thought it was a really good idea on his part. The match was won by the Iconics. Beth Phoenix hit Bayley with a glam slam off the top rope. The thing is, Billie Kay tagged Beth when she was performing that, threw Beth out of the ring, and covered Bayley to get the pin. So now the Iconics have the tag team belts, and I want to vomit blood. It is what it is. So the next match was the one that I think it's not unfair to say this was the match everybody was waiting for. Daniel Bryan, the SmackDown champion and possibly the most annoying human being on the planet right now, accompanied by Eric Rowan, going against Kofi Kingston. Kofi came down to the ring with his New Day partners, Big E and Xavier Woods. We knew that these two would put on an amazing match. I didn't know it was going to be this amazing. And I thought this was, I really, really think this was one of the best matches of the year so far. I know we're only in April, but I think it was an amazing match. At the end of the match, Kofi performed a Trouble in Paradise and got the pinfall. So the new WWE champion is Kofi Kingston. He is a Triple Crown champion. He is a Grand Slam champion, and he is the first African-born WWE champion. The end of the match was just complete and utter elation. The crowd was so happy for Kofi. Kofi brought his 2 children into the ring, his 2 sons. I gotta say the older son, he climbed right up on the turnbuckle, threw a t-shirt into the crowd. I'm like, wow. We already know how to do all this stuff. Good for you. You're gonna be a superstar way in the future, and we're all gonna say, we saw you when, little Kofi's son. That's awesome. That was great. Big E and Xavier Woods got rid of Bryan's annoying belt. I think they should have shredded it. I think somebody should have brought out like one of those portable shredders and just gone, yeah. And they gave Kofi a proper WWE belt made of gold and dead cow. Yay! Look, some of us like leather, okay? Deal with it. Don't kink shame out there. I thought this was really, really great. I just loved the attitude in the crowd, because the attitude in the crowd was better than the attitude of some people online, I gotta say. Some people online have actually had the colossal nerve to be like, oh, why are they making it about race? Why is it such a big deal that a black guy won the belt? If you have to ask questions like that, shut up. If you have to ask questions like that, you honest to blog don't get it. We cut to the back where the SNL guys are complaining about being hurt because they were in a match with Big Scary Braun Boo-Hoo. And the doctors that came to check on them were Dr. Hall and Dr. Nash, because they're still under contract, I guess. I'm sorry. Kevin Nash doing the rubber glove snap and talking about a prostate exam. That's the most horrifying thing I've seen all year, and I've already seen the trailers for Pet Sematary, which I am not going to, by the way. The first time I saw Pet Sematary, it cost me 3 nights' sleep. If you think I'm going to the remake, you're on drugs. The announcing table was joined by Hall of Fame alumni now, Booker T, awesome person. And we had a match between Rey Mysterio and U.S. champion Samoa Joe. Rey continuing his awesome tradition. Every WrestleMania, Rey's costume, takes inspiration from some comic book hero or comic book villain. He's been everybody from the Flash to the Joker to Daredevil. This year, he came out in the outfit that he wore was very reminiscent of the Spider-Man villain Mysterio, which makes sense because A, they've got the same name, and also because Mysterio will be in the upcoming Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man Far From Home, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, which I'm really confused about because I'm like, I think, isn't he the bad guy? I don't get it. I'm just happy there's going to be another Spider-Man movie because that means that there's going to be more Peter Parker because I adore Peter because he's sweet. Anyway, back to the match. Everybody who's been paying attention to the online wrestling news sites knows that Rey Mysterio is currently hurt. So we knew this match was not going to be long. I didn't think it was going to be this short. I mean, I've had sessions where I put on my lipstick that took longer than this. Rey did perform a 619 on Joe, which is, his signature move. And unfortunately, Joe went after Rey tried to, capitalize on Joe being staggered by that. Joe grabbed him and caught him in the coquina clutch, and Rey passed out, and thus Joe won the match and retained the title. Blech. I'm sorry, and this is not a slam on Joe. It really isn't. I think he's an amazing, amazing athlete. I super duper do, but he's got to go to AEW or somewhere else because they're just not using him right in the WWE. They're just not. This was a match. The next one was a match that I was seriously waiting for. The return of Roman Reigns to WrestleMania, where he faced off against Drew McIntyre, the Scottish Sheep. No, I'm not going to finish that. Dang you, Seth Rollins, for putting that in my head all those months ago. Cause I'm sorry, the whole Scottish psychopath thing for Drew McIntyre. Okay, first off, this is another nit, and I'm going to pick it. Psychopath. It's one word, not psychopath. There is not a space in there. Psychopath is one freaking word. Learn it if you're going to use it. Damn it. Oh, is damn it a swear? Oh, crap. Nuts. Sorry. Darn it. Also, calling this nit a psychopath? Really? Okay, to paraphrase something that a lot of you may not have been alive for, to take something from an old, political debate, I know psychopaths. I'm friends with psychopaths. I might be a psychopath. Drew McIntyre, you are not a psychopath. Seriously. You want psychopath lessons, go check out Nikki Cross, because she knows she does crazy better than you do. What up, Nikki? So, I was just excited because Roman Reigns is back. That's my whole thing. God is good. Roman Reigns is back. Roman Reigns is cancer-free. Again, God is good. The whole thing of the match was mostly, unfortunately, dominated by Drew McIntyre, which meant the camera wasn't on Roman, which irritated me. Before he could perform a Glasgow kiss on Reigns, which is a wrestling move, don't panic, this isn't a fanfic, Reigns shot himself off the ropes, knocked Drew with a Superman punch that knocked him into next week, and then gave him a spear, and then won the match. F you, Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns is back. Deal! Following this, we had the WrestleMania concert from Elias. Again, Animaniacs flashback. Are we being punished? Yes. The way they did it, though, I gotta be honest, it was quite clever. I really did like it. We got a video, I didn't think it was on video at first, of Elias on drums, and then and he's quite good, really. I was impressed with that. I was like, dang. And then we had Elias playing the piano, and he was quite good at that. And now we've got Elias in the ring, and Elias still on screen on drums and piano, and I'm like, is this like messing with like time and space and stuff? That never works on Doctor Who. And his whole, usual silence your cell phones, blah, 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 blah. And then we get a weird video where the video is of Babe Ruth. And Babe Ruth's whole iconic thing where he would point out to the, he was going to do a home run, do it for a kid that was in the hospital and very ill. I don't know if the announcing that they had on was the announcing that was actually done at that time. I'm not sure. I don't know. But after they showed all this, out comes John Cena. Now, I know some people are probably going to go, so John Cena walked out, big deal. Oh, no. It's more than that. So much more than that. Because it was John Cena, but it wasn't Big Match John or, any of the other things that they've called John for the longest time, and he didn't do the salute and all that. Oh, no. We get Word Life John Cena. Oh, man, that sounded so lame. We get the Doctor of Thugonomics gimmick John Cena. And we get John Cena wearing a New York Yankees shirt. John. Okay, now you might notice that I love movies. If you didn't know that, I'm a huge movie fan. I'm always quoting movies that I like and stuff like that. John, this quote from Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, goes out to you. You're breaking my heart, and you're going down a path that I can't follow. Thank you. John got in the ring and completely verbally punched a hole through Elias's ego and then hit him with an FU, which was just awesome because it was an FU and not an attitude adjustment, screw family friendly crap. And he beat up Elias and it was good. Although, seriously, John, the Yankees shirt, really? John, I mean, crying out loud, really? The next match was a no-holds-barred match that had another stipulation to it. Triple H going against a returning Batista. And the stipulation was that Triple H put his career up as the prize. If Batista wins this match, Triple H has to retire. This got spectacularly ugly. We had a lot of plunder involved in this, taking a page from the late Dusty Rhodes. We had sledgehammers, we had needle-nose pliers, we had, I think it was a wrench. I guess, I'm not really sure because it's tools and I don't do stuff like that because I'm not trusted with sharp things. And it was, some of the stuff that Triple H was doing was just like, oh my gosh, the whole thing where he, ripped out Batista's, nose ring with the needle nose pliers. It was it was nasty. It was brutal. It told a great story. You really felt like these guys were trying to kill each other, with Batista bombs and spears and, and it just kept, and it went on for quite a bit. We had Ric Flair come down to the ring. As you remember, Batista beat the holy frog snot out of Rick a while back. And he managed to get Triple H his sledgehammer. Triple H blasted Batista with it and hit him with another pedigree and won the match. So that solved nothing? Pretty much? I guess? I don't think it really solved anything. I just found, so the winner of the match and getting to keep his career, Triple H. The next day, Batista announced that he was retiring from professional wrestling. Ow. What? I'm like, but that wasn't in the, never mind, forget it. Following that, we get JBL at the commentator's desk because we can't have nice things. I don't know. And we have Kurt Angle's farewell WrestleMania match with Kurt Angle going against Baron Corbin. Animaniacs reference, take 3. Are we being punished? Yes. And when you thought you couldn't get any more punished, they had Corbin win. Baron Corbin hit Kurt Angle with the end of days to win the match. And after the match, Kurt gave a really beautiful speech, with thanking the fans for his career. There was a fan in the crowd. There were some cool signs at this show. There were also some signs that were just making me go, what? Don't let drunk people make signs. It never works out. But there was a fan with a sign that said, talking about Kurt, that said, "You never sucked." That person is a very nice person. So, person with that sign, you're a very nice person. Here's a virtual cookie. The second to last match was Intercontinental Champion Bobby Lashley with Lio Rush in his corner, because again, we can't have nice things, going against Finn Balor. Okay, couple of things. What in the freaking fork is up with Bobby's eyes? Bobby Lashley came out there and his eyes were this color green that the only time I've ever seen that otherwise was when David Banner changed into the Hulk. I'm like, what? What? I'm sorry. I completely didn't get it. I didn't get it. Bobby, as I mentioned, was the Intercontinental Champion going into this match. And then out came Finn Balor. Sort of. I mean, it was Finn Balor, but at the same time, it wasn't Finn Balor. It was Finn Balor as the Demon. Not the Demon King. He's just referred to as the Demon now. And, is it wrong, being a Supernatural fan that I am, #ProudSamazon, that, that's one demon I wouldn't mind. Now, whoa, we're not going to go there. No, we're going to leave that alone. I'm sorry, just watching Finn Balor in that makeup crawling on the ground is wicked freaking hot. Don't kink shame. Balor wound up performing the coup de grace on Lashley, and your winner and new Intercontinental Champion and second time as Intercontinental Champion, Finn Balor. Now, is he going to defend the belt all the time as the Demon? I don't know. I kind of hope not, because, I mean, I dig the Demon look and all that stuff like that, but I would miss that smile. I would miss that 100-watt smile that Finn Balor has. I really and truly would if we didn't get to see it more. So, that brings us to the main event of the evening, which was the first time in WrestleMania's history that a women's match, the match involving, female wrestlers, was the main event. It's been a long time coming, and to quote some ads that I know a lot of people out there listening to this are way too young to remember, you've come a long way, baby. So we had the Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey and the SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair. Sorry, I had a full body twitch on that. Asuka should have said that. Nope. Leaving it alone. Going against these two women, going against each other, and going against the Irish Lass Kicker Becky Lynch in a winner-take-all three-way dance for all the belts. Joan Jett and the Blackhearts were there live performing Ronda's theme, Bad Reputation, which is an awesome song. I gotta say, Joan Jett looked amazing. I love Joan anyway. She's an amazing artist. I have one of my favorite albums of hers is an album called The Hit List, which is all cover songs. Her version of Who'll Stop the Rain is incredible. I also have to say that Ronda's skirt that she was wearing, the kilt, pseudo kilt kind of thing that she was wearing before the start of the match. Yeah, that was a little more Britney Spears than Roddy Piper, in my opinion. Just saying, we knew this match was going to be awesome, and it was a great match, but the ending felt rushed. And from what I've heard, Ronda Rousey may have, I don't know if it's definite or not, but I've heard a lot of people saying she broke her hand during the match. And Becky won the match with a roll-up and wound up pinning Ronda, and that was actually the first pinfall that she's had. So Ronda wound up winning the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship, and this is the first time she's won the Raw Women's Championship, and the third time she has won the SmackDown Women's Championship. So congratulations to Becky Lynch. I don't know if Becky's still a heel or not, because let's be honest, the WWE trying to push her as a heel just completely and utterly failed. Failed, because the audience went, yeah, no, we don't want to boo her. Too bad. The next couple of days on Raw and SmackDown also brought some interesting things happening, including on SmackDown, jumping to Raw real quick, that, Lars Anderson made his debut and beat the crap out of Kurt Angle, which sucks. Lars, buddy, just word from one human being to another human being. I'm sorry about the problems you had earlier. I hope you're doing better and continue to be out there and being a big scary dude. And on SmackDown, the Hardy Boys had a match with the Usos, and now the new SmackDown Tag Team Champions are the Hardy Boys. And also, please beat the crap out of Shane McMahon. I really don't care who it is by this point. It could be the ring announcer. It could be a corgi. I don't care. Somebody just please beat up Shane. So that's my look at WrestleMania. If I was going to grade it, which I am, because it's my show, I would give WrestleMania, I'm going to give it an A-. The reason I'm giving it an A- is for a couple of reasons. The matches, for the most part, were all really good. The whole thing during the pre-show with both the women's and men's battle royal having the whole hide under the ring thing, I was like, really? That's, like I said, deja screw. The reason that I'm knocking some points off here and there, yes, I am being petty about the whole John Cena wearing a Yankees shirt deal. And also the fact that this was the first WrestleMania in a very long time that I can think of that didn't have The Undertaker there. Although The Undertaker did show up the next night on Raw and beat the crap out of Elias, which was awesome. And a real big turn on there. Don't kink shame. But yeah, I'd give it an A-. I really would. I'm really sorry that some people that were there couldn't see because of the lights. I mean, I think that's really crazy, and WWE needs to get their stuff together when it comes to your lighting and stuff like that, if that's become a big problem, seriously. So, that is going to do it for my show this week. I'd love to know your opinions on WrestleMania, what you liked, what you didn't like, what made an impression on you, platinumroselle@yahoo.com. And if you would like to listen to the other shows that are part of our little island of misfit toys, that would be super cool. And also, if you would like, share, and subscribe my show, and let other people know that it's out there so they can take a listen and listen to my rabbiting on and on and on and on and on. And as I mentioned, we have other shows like Subject Cinema, Platinum Rose's Garden, Tuesday Digidex, 3-Minute Weekend, Front Row 5 and 10, Cavebabble, and Anthony Lamberti, our buddy over on YouTube at Aunt B's Nerd Grotto. We also have a Patreon. If you'd like to subscribe to our Patreon for $5, you can get one of my other shows, which is exclusive to Patreon, called Kaiju Corner. And I try to put a lot into that and have fun with it so people can, have a laugh and take a good listen. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, Platinum Rose Lady at twitter.com. If you want to just drop me a line, as I mentioned, about any old thing, platinumroselle@yahoo.com. And that is going to wrap it up for another week here on Ring Around the Rosie. And I'll be back in a couple of weeks. So have a great week, and see you around.
You have been listening to Ring Around the Rosie with Kim Brown, a production of PNR Networks. Keep in touch with all things about the show at http://ringaroundtherosie.net. Ring Around the Rosie intro performed by Eric Lyon. Ring Around the Rosie theme by Digital Juice. Join Kim for a new Ring Around the Rosie every Wednesday. Ring Around the Rosie is copyright 2018 PNR Networks, Boston, Massachusetts, USA.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.